Okay, let's see if that works. So this is a tutorial for Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. This is the Steam version of the board game. Um, Most people who are familiar with the board game hopefully have the app as well, and it's just going through some things for the app. And in this case, Steam. The setup is exactly the same. You can link your app with the Steam account if you have one, or vice versa. And this is just to go through some features of the app. The tutorial is probably one of the best tutorials I've seen for app versions of any board games. Yeah, so let's go through. So this one is your static screen. If you have an account, this one is you. So in this case, it's Greenie. That's me. And Yeah, if you want to challenge me on a game on the app, usually I'm quite happy to play. Just send me a friend request, and then I'm usually quite happy to play. I usually play 24 hours per turn. Mainly that helps with my work. So yeah, so I've got roughly about an hour, I guess. So I may not be able to go through a whole game, but it's probably worth. It's probably still gives you all of the ideas of what the game has to offer, and a little bit of some tactics, I guess. Some variations. Every strategy you have is possibly possible to play, I guess. Uh, it's just making it work, I guess. So yeah, so let's have a go. So for this one, I'll choose a custom game. So a local game. So these are where you set the game up. So we start with the base game, the original, and the difference between the original and the base game actually is that they have altered some games slightly from the original version. Apart from that, everything is the same. Then obviously the new expansion pack, which is roughly about, I think it's out about a year, which adds a totally different dimension to it. I'll cover that probably at some point in a different video. And then you can have a random mix between the base game and the expansion, which is quite fun as well. So let's do the base game. And then rules. So rules, digital or tabletop. So if you're familiar with a game on table as a normal board game, you realize that when you are playing a political action, you feed a card into the political deck. What then happens is that you reveal a card, and if it's a colony, you have to colonize. So the player who reveals a card then has to start bidding from 0 to whatever that person thinks he can or she can actually afford. And then it goes along around the table. And I think in the normal version, in the tabletop version, that is absolutely fine. If you play digital and you play with multiple time frames, I think the digital version just speeds it up to the point that what you do is each player simultaneously actually makes a bid, and basically the highest bidder wins then. So you reveal all at the same time, or it gets revealed via the app, and then the highest bidder wins. And the highest bid is won by the second highest plus one, basically. So if you say you bid 10, the second highest is 7, you only then have to colonize for 8. So which it becomes apparent in a minute. So I play the digital rules because it speeds things up. And then you've got options of playing. So I usually play a 4-player game because it's less predictable. So, and then you've got this option of a training AI, easy AI, medium AI, and hard AI, who are, I think they're pretty decent, I guess. So let's play on just easy. So just for the purpose of this, let's make it female. Okay, then we have a red one. Let's make it male, and we've got a blue one. Doesn't matter. Let's do so. Okay, so this is a setup. So the game sets everything up. Loading. Here we go. So this is our game, and as you can see, so this one is your playing board basically. So as you normally have your board in front of you, so this one is your military. Currently you start with one warrior as in the normal game. This one is your farms, so you start with 2 farms, indicated by the 2 lights. You start with 2 mines, again, and then you start with 1 lab, which gives you science. And then this one, where you haven't got anything, this is your templates. Over here, as you can see, these are your blue tokens, and these ones are your worker bank. You can actually click on it, and it brings things up, and it explains to you how much corruption and how much consumption you actually need in order to feed, or you need to cover basically. So then, same as in the normal game, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they cost 1 action each. The second 1, 2, 3, 4, they cost like 2 actions, and then the last 4, they costing 3 actions, as you can see here. This one is a random order here, playing order, as just randomly assigned by the game. And then the other good thing with this one is that you can actually remind yourself of what actually has been played. So Red's first turn, he took Julius Caesar, and then he done the production phase. And you can actually go through the whole game, which is actually quite nice to remind yourself actually what has been played, and in order to potentially optimize your strategy. So I'm on position 2, which is okay, I guess. I've got 2 actions because at the start of the game I get 2 actions, and obviously then I have a choice of taking 2 cards from here or take 1 card from here. So, and if you click on it, so what you can do is you can click on it, and then it brings the card up. It explains what it is, and then you have the option of taking this card. Or what you can do is you can actually hover over it, and then if you do a double click, then you take the card. Like I would do this, for example, and then you've got the undo button in order to undo your turn, and you can do that multiple times if you've done multiple actions in your turn and you think, oh, actually I can optimize that. That's really the basics, really. So underneath here you can see your productions basically. So this one is your food production. At the moment you're producing +2 because you don't have actually any consumption. This one is your stone. You're producing 2 because you don't have, as it was indicated here, you don't have any corruption here at the moment. This is your science. You're producing +1 because you have 1 science. And this one is your culture. You start with 0 and you're producing none at the moment. So to win the game at the end is who has got the most culture basically. And it's a very balanced game in terms of you need to keep your military up a bit, you need to keep your production up, you need to keep your science up in order to research stuff, but also you need to make sure that you keep your workers happy. And that is a very important concept in this game. So, because if you haven't got happy workers, you can't really use them. And as the game goes on, I will go through that a bit as well. So to keep your workers happy, so you need these little happy signs here, basically. And certain cards or certain leaders, like Homer, they give you special abilities. So let's explain quickly here. So let's start with frugality. Frugality gives you increase your population after you pay the food cost, gain 1 food. So that basically is you pay some food out and then you get 1 back. Pyramids. So this is one of the wonders. Takes 3 actions. So cost is 3 stone, 2 stone, 1 stone, indicated by this one here, but it gives you another action, which as soon as you build it, you get it straight away. A good wonder. Engineering Genius. Engineering Genius basically is a card which lets you put resources towards a wonder. So in this case, it's an antiquity 1. So build 1 stage of a wonder, pay 2 stone less. So for example, if you would combine the pyramids with the engineering genius, that means that in your first turn you only would pay 1 stone instead of 3, because you could combine it with this card, which is not a bad choice. Colossus is another wonder. And at the start of H2 and H3, you draw 3 military cards. So that again costs 6 stone altogether, but this is only 2 turns. It gives you +2 defense and also +1 towards colonization. Not a bad choice. So then we've got Cultural Heritage. Cultural Heritage is just a one-off card which gives you score 1 science and 4 culture. Rich land. So rich land and urban growth, they are relatively, well, no, they're quite important cards actually. So it lets you build or upgrade mines or farms, and you pay 1 less in this case. And the further you get into the game, the higher the number is, basically the less you pay. So the rich land is specifically for mines and farms. Urban growth is specifically for urban buildings, and there are plenty of urban buildings which I go through as we go along. Then we've got another pink one here, or purple in this case, sorry, which is Hanging Gardens. So Hanging Gardens again costs 6 resources. When completed, you gain 2. You get 1 permanent culture, and you actually get 2 happy smiley faces, which is great. There are various websites actually where they rate all the leaders, all the wonders. You can make your own mind up what you think is best. I've got a few personal choices which I'll probably not completely reveal today, but Hanging Gardens is probably in my top 3, mainly because it solves the problem of your happiness with your workers. If you combine it occasionally with Homer, who is one of the leaders here, so Homer is one of the leaders are green, and there's a ton of stuff to remember. So on your turn, you have an extra resource for buildings and upgrading military units. When you replace Homer, you may slide this card under one of your completed wonders to give it an extra happy face. If you do, you do not get the civil action back, but it gives you another. So a combo of Hanging Gardens and Homer potentially is a good choice. Leaders are limited. They stay for the remainder of your age and the following age, if not any other cards say you need to get rid of them. And there are various options of that happening. Then we've got Aristotle. Aristotle is quite a good one as well. Every time you take a technology card from the card row, you score +1. So technology cards are cards which come out in a minute, and every time you take one, so technology cards are cards where you actually have to spend science on, and every time you take one, you get 1 culture. You get 1 science, which is not a bad choice. Then we come to Hammurabi. Hammurabi is, I think, hands down the strongest leader. Little text, but that doesn't mean a lot. So on your turn, you may use one of your military actions as a civil action. So, which means that, and I'll explain that in a sec, so it also tells me that I actually can't take him because I only got 2 actions, and he's in a 3 action row, so I can't really take him, but obviously for the purpose of this video, I just explained it quickly. So what that means is, your civil actions are these white balls buttons here. Then you've got some red ones here, which are your military actions. So Hammurabi actually lets you use one of the military actions, and you can use it as a civil action, which is huge to start with. If you potentially combine it with the pyramids, you actually have potentially 2 extra actions in your turn, which is not a bad choice. So, so these are the basics, and all of this you probably should more or less know from the setup of the normal game. What happens is that you see the X here. So because it's a 4-player game, this card will always disappear. In a 3-player game, it's these 2 cards, and in a 2-player game, it's the first 3 cards which will disappear. And then what happens is that these cards they shuffle forward, and then the row gets replaced with cards which appear here. So, and you also can see what the deck has. So these are the deck which is the Antiquity deck. We have 4 decks, A, 1, 2, 3. And then these are the military ones as well, and you can see what they have. So this one is the deck in A1, in H2, and in H3, and they become much more powerful, and you can actually click on them and then it explains, and you can just move them around and it gives you a lot of points there and some options and all that. So in this case, I probably go for the pyramids, and I go for the engineering genius, and then if I'm happy with that, I click finish my turn, and then production automatically happens, which in the normal game you need to obviously trace. You need to do that yourself, but this is the interesting thing about the app on Steam. It just basically does it for you. And as you can see, even the computer on the easy settings, they will take Hammurabi because he is. So Julius Caesar has been played. Red builds in a farm, then they start constructing the Library of Alexandria, which is not a bad choice. And if that all was still too quick, because then, like I said, you then can play this, and then you can see, so choose, and it also tells you how many civil actions or military action that player used. So it's my turn. I have no cards in my hand. So first 2 actions, what you always need to do is you need to make sure that you get your economy going. So which means you need to build another mine. And the way you do it is you get one of your idle workers from your worker pool. You get it and just click it on there. Okay, so that means you're producing now 3 stone. I have got, so in order to get another worker, I need to increase my population. And it happens from your worker pool. Your workers from here go into your worker pool, and they cost 2 at the moment. Luckily, look at that, I have got 2, so I click on here. So those disappear, go on here. One of these workers goes from there to my worker pool, which I haven't used yet. And this is the standard first turn, or second in this case, really. And it depends a little bit what you actually took in your first turn, because there was a good possibility that I could have taken, for example, the rich land or the urban growth. In this case, with urban growth, you could have actually built a lab first, which then gets you an additional science from the start instead of a mine. So in order to build another lab, you actually need 3 stone. You're only producing 2 from the start, but the urban growth gives you to pay 1 less. So what you could do then is pick it up in the first turn, which I could have, I think. Yes, I did. I could have. And could have started with this one. Is that a valid turn? Yeah, it's a valid turn. Is it a good turn? Probably okay, I guess. Yeah, it's still valid. Like I said, you can make any strategy you have, you can make it work. And yeah, it would have probably worked as well. So, but in this case, what I did is, so I started with a mine, which is a standard first turn. So I've still got 2 actions left. So what I do now is I actually take urban, because in the next turn I need to get some science going. And so I've got the pyramids. So do I want Homer, for example, as a leader? He helps me a little bit with my military. he also helps me with potentially sliding him under the pyramids once they're finished. So that is a valid choice. So let's take him. And that's my turn done. So all whites are gone. I still got the military actions, but I didn't do anything. I didn't build any military. When I'm happy, I will just, yep, that's fine, and I end my turn. Am I happy? I'm happy, I guess. I thought of something just now and forgotten. Clearly my first video, so yeah. So the next turn would be more interesting, I think. So because we have got a political action. No, we don't. Okay, so yellow used Hammurabi, and we can probably see in a minute what he's going to do. He should make use of the extra actions he gets. Yes, he did. As you can see, it disappeared here, and I'll show you that in a minute. So he did a standard strong turn-ish. I'll just take the Hanging Gardens, I guess, but that is his choice. And they are, I wouldn't say stupid, but they are not doing optimal turns, I would say. So therefore, it's a good learning curve just to get the basics under your belt, and see how it goes, basically. So right, so what's he doing here? Because I talk through this game, which I hardly do, it's probably worth checking up what he did. So you can play no political action. Click on the skip political action. The political action I can probably play some later, and I will go through that with you, because you basically have got two hands. One is the political deck, or the military deck in this case, and this one is the silver deck. So the silver deck is a card which replaces this row. This one is the ones which you take into your hand, which the other players can't see. These ones, the silver deck, these cards you take from the card row, everybody can see in this game, but I think if you play the normal game as a tabletop, you tend not to. It's a valid a variation of either play with the cards open or not. Most of the time, I think I play it with the cards in my hand, but either way is fine, because technically you should know what your opponents have in your hand. It's just remembering things, basically. So what you can do is, so you can have a look. So let's scroll up and let's have a look. So yellow is the person with the Hammurabi. So they choose Hammurabi, increase population by 2. Yep. Took patriotism, and then took the option of using a military action as a civil action, and took urban growth A, and so on. Therefore, they only get one military card because they used one of the, looks like it's a turn in one of my online games. So I don't have any political cards in my hand. So the fact that I skipped doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have any in my hand just for my opponents, because you should not always play a political action just because you can, because it may actually comes back to bite you, basically. So what I'm going to do is I do my 4 actions. So I'll probably play Homer. So the way to use this card in order to build a lab with for 1 less is you can either play it like that, then it gives you the option of using the card. So if you do this, the card disappears and it's only 1 action. Or the other option is you can move the card into the middle, and it gives you the option of which one do you want to play. So you want an HA lamp. No, the other option is probably better, because it's quite easy to actually press probably the wrong one, although you've got always the option of going back. But yeah, so I'll put a lamp. So now I've got 2 labs, I'm producing 2 science. Science is very important because these are the science the science cards. And as we said earlier with Aristotle, so if you click on Aristotle, every time you take a technology card, you score 1 science. So these are science cards, and science cards are indicated by this round blue number, which means this is the amount of science you actually need to spend in order to develop these cards. So at the moment I've got 2, so the only one at the moment I could develop would be theology. It's quite good because it gives you +1 science. It gives +1 culture, and it gives you 2 smiley faces to keep your workers happy. So again, if you combine this potentially with the Hanging Gardens, you get suddenly 4, and that gets you quite high up here as well. So as you can see, the smiley faces appear here. I have got 1 smiley face, and that is because, as it says in the corner here, is because for Homer, because I've got Homer in play, and Homer gives me 1 smiley face. So I've got 2 more actions left. So what do? So it's worth probably, like I said again, there's various options of what you can do. And it's also interesting to know that in the Antiquity deck, so every time you feed a political action, you feed a card into this deck, one of these gets revealed. And in deck A, in the Antiquity, they are always good. They always help. And I'm aware of that. And usually it means that you can do something for free. Either you can build a temple for free, or you can build military for free, or you get resources. I'm fully aware that I don't have a worker here, which I could do. On the other hand, then, I have a problem of potentially missing out on iron and on alchemy, which are both very interesting and important technologies to have. So alchemy, it's a better version of your lab. And when you look at it, so your lab gives you +1 science, each of your labs. So I'm producing +2. So alchemy gives you +2 per. It costs 6 compared to 3. But if I have enough science to develop alchemy, what then happens is it goes above here, as it will happen at some point in the game. And then to upgrade it, you only have to pay the difference. So in this case, so 3, so it's 3 because it's 6. Oops, I took that, sorry. And then this one is 3, so you only pay the difference, which is 3 basically. So do I take alchemy or do I take iron? And this is the third turn basically, and second, and already we need to make a decision, which can be quite tricky. Okay, I go for alchemy. I don't know why, just because I can, I guess. I do that. I don't know why really. There's no right or wrong here, I guess. There's people who probably would beg to differ or argue a different way, but like I said, it's just a tutorial, so I think alchemy is a good choice. You see the +1 here. So the +1 means that I have +1 stone available to actually build military or upgrade military buildings, and that is because of the Homer ability. Homer. That's a German in me. So Homer. In the normal game, in the normal tabletop game, you need to track that yourself, so it's quite easy to miss actually. So hence this one comes in quite handy. It does other things as well. If you play certain cards, it automatically gives you a hint that you maybe missed something, or you can still use it or something like that. So right, so that's my turn done. I've took alchemy, which probably a good idea, I guess. We'll see. Like I said, the other option would have been I can just build another worker and take one of these cards, which is probably fine. The other option here would have been I would have built another worker and took urban growth, I think. Yeah. That would have been the other option, I guess. So, and then I end my turn. Because I have got 2 military actions, I'm allowed to have a hand size of 2. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about earlier. So, your hand size, depending on your government. So, my government, when you start, it is despotism, as it says here. It's an HA government. So, if you click on it, or if you press G, it tells you how many civil actions you have and how many military actions you have. It also tells you the urban government limits. So you can only have 2 per urban government per urban building, which means so anything urban. So like you can only have 2. So I can hold 4 cards in my hand here, and I can only hold 2 at the end of my turn. I can only hold 2 military cards here. So I just say, so production happens, and let's see what happens. Oh, some nice ones there. Okay, so yellow is doing its bit. Let's see what he does. Increase population. Yeah, sounds good. Oh, he's gone for 4 mines. Okay, interesting. Hasn't increased his science. Okay. And here we go. So each civilization scores +2, and that is because blue has played a card in here, reveals 1 card, and everybody's affected. So I gained 2. That is brilliant. Look at that. Yeah, use frugality. Breakthrough. Breakthrough isn't interesting. Yeah. I don't understand why he doesn't take any. With his ability, he just took the wrong cards, and yeah, that's fine. I'll probably lose now. Right, theocracy. Okay, done that. Fine. Okay, so political phase. Now, out of my 4 cards, I can play a political phase. So, pestilence. Prepare this event and you score 1. Same as in a normal game. As soon you play an H1 card, you get 1 victory point. You play H2, and you get 2 victory points of culture, and H3 you gain 3. So, all civilizations on your turn lose 1 population. That is interesting card. Because what happens if you don't have a worker in your worker pool, you actually have to disband, or you have to kill one of your buildings, or military. So which is can be quite interesting. Always good to have that, because you will play it, or you will, and because you know that it's coming up, you will prepare for that as well. Raiders is slightly different. So it says each of the 2 weakest civilizations on your turn, you lose either 2 and/or. So you have a choice basically. So looking at this one is your military strength here. So red is probably the strongest. So it will have, okay. So if I play this, then I need to keep that in mind. If I play this, I need to keep that in mind as well. So I play pestilence. Yeah. And then, so on your turn, you see, so that's what I meant. So I'm probably losing out. Well, not probably, I will, because I don't have a worker. So, you have no idea what to do. Yeah, I do. That's fine. Okay, so let's see what we can do. So we've got 6 because we got some earlier. Okay, what is a good turn? So I need a worker. Always handy. What I'll probably do is I'll play one stage. I do this stage, and I'll probably do the last stage as well, and then that means so finished. So I get that automatically, and as you can see, now I've got, instead of 4, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 1 action left. What do we do? So I can't increase my population because I need 3 now. I've got no stone left. I'm still producing 2. So what are we going to do? I can. What do I want to do? I can use breakthrough. Breakthrough is a good idea. Breakthrough, then develop a technology. After you pay the science cost, you score 2. So you basically, this one cost me only 2 then, basically, because I'm getting 2 back. So that is a valid option. Masonry is quite good because, so urban buildings have reduced costs. So A1 costs me less stone, A2 costs me less stone, A3 costs me less stone. But it also, what it does, it lets me build 2 stages of a wonder instead of 1 per civil action. And that is not a bad thing later in the game. Okay, I'll probably, I don't know, I'll probably go with, breakthrough, just because I can. So, end of turn. So I've done everything. I haven't used any of my military. I used all of my civil actions. I play end turn. So now I've got, so as I only have 2, I need to get rid of one of these cards. Whichever you want to get rid of, absolutely fine by me. In this case, I'll probably get rid of this one. Yeah. Let's have a look. He gets iron, yeah. St. Peter's Basilica, okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay, monarchy, okay. Really random stuff they do, I have to say. So Taj Mahal, I'm losing out. Okay. Code of Laws, not a bad choice. Yeah, Code of Laws is a very good card. Fine. Okay, what are we going to do? So I can try to get a trade route with someone. Civilization A can use 1 and during its turn. So you basically can use food for stone or vice versa, depending which side you want to do. And you can offer it to any of them. They have then the choice of say either yay or nay. Want to do that. So barbarians are, so the civilization with the most culture points. If you are one of the 2 weakest civilizations, so in terms of military strength, on your turn you lose 1 population. So if you click on here, you can actually see how many culture people have at the moment and how much they're producing. So they're producing 1, and it's probably because they took the option of getting that temple earlier with that card, which is coming up here, I guess. So let's look. Yeah. So what I do is I'll play the Raiders card. Why not? Gain population, lovely. Yes. Yes. Fine. So if that was too quick, so increase your population for free because that's the card I just played. Got one back. Built an A1 temple for free. That is huge because you ideally need to build some. But yes. So increase your population for free. Yes. Well, I don't have a choice really. So right now I've got 5 actions here, as you can see. So what are we going to do? I think we build another one because it's all covered. So then it tells you here, why do I have 2? 1 for Homer, 1 for temples. Also keep an eye on the deck here because all of these ones are disappearing once this one is gone to 0. So, okay, I'll probably play something slightly controversial, especially because I played. So I do that. Okay, so I've got 2 military now. Instead of the 2, which it normally costs, I only had to pay 1. And you can see that here. 1 cost was reduced by the extra resources because of Homer's ability. And then I can play a tactics card. So a tactics card, you see you play it, comes up here, and it gives me +1 because I've got 2 infantry, makes it a fighting band, therefore 1, 1, and 1 gives me 3, so 3. So that is not a bad thing. So let's have a look. Got 4 actions left. So I feel like I need to go with something like. So reserves are not a bad thing because they give me 2 or 2. And I need to, at some point you need to look ahead and start and looking at how you can generate culture points. So drama is a very good way of getting culture points. So I'll probably, printing press is a very good one as well because it gives you culture and it gives you science as well. So and when you look at the cost, so they cost 3. Look at this costs 4. Reason for that is because it gives you more culture. Okay, but I like it, and I've got alchemy to cover this, so it's yeah. So I take that, so it gives me 2, and then I'll take drama. So my hand size is 5 now, so I can take another card, and then play turn. Let's see what happens. Like I said, this is by all means it's not. I'm not the strongest or strong player. It's just that I think it gives you some ideas of how to play the game. Gives you some ideas where you should take certain cards, and just your whole decision making. Although it does depend a little bit on what comes out. Development of trade routes, that's pretty good. So that's for each civilization. So there's one more A1 card coming out, so that's good. And he's gone with monarchy as well, so that's not okay. So what I'll probably do is I will stop the recording at the end of H1, and then that will give you an idea. And then I'll do another one which will cover the whole game, and yeah, and then you can always leave comments obviously below, and yeah, let me know how that works in a minute. So, okay, Caesar, what are you doing, Caesar? He's building the Library of Alexandria. Library of Alexandria is a very good wonder. I quite like it. And he's going for warriors as well. So interesting. Okay, cool. So this way comes common knowledge, and also everybody else can use it for an extra red action. So instead of, so I took it from my hand to use it. That cost me only 1, as it says here. But if anybody else wants to use it, they need to use 2 military actions. So that's always good to remember. Okay, let's have a look. So, do we want the barbarians out? Civilization with the most culture points. Let's have a quick look. Who has got the most culture points at the moment? So that is definitely, and he is actually the strongest as well, so that wouldn't affect him. But it gives you 1 point. So I'll put this one out there. Okay, so digital rules. Okay, so fast online players, as I explained earlier. So someone put vast. So this is what you get immediately into your bank, and this is what you also get. So you get extra 3 yellow tokens, but you lose 1 blue token. So I haven't got any colony cards in my hand. So, and as it's my turn, I could have a think of what I want to do. Okay, just for the sake of it. So I'll put 1 in. So 1 and then bit 1. So red 1, not surprising. So he has to commit 3. So click OK. Then it tells you what he actually put in. So it has to be at least 1 military unit plus 1, 2. That makes it 3. So I didn't have any of these cards in my hand. So fine. Okay. So what are we going to do? We are going for drama, I think. So develop it and score +2. So it's basically cost me just 1. Oh, I know, the music is brilliant, isn't it? So then we push 1 over here. And remember, I only can build 2. So 2 of those, and 2 of bread circuses, 2 of printing press at the moment because of my government. I can also play this. Oh, there's a Code of Law there. Look at that. Definitely take this one. Play it as well straight away, because that's basically free action. But again, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see if I would have had Hammurabi, I would have had 6 plus another one. That is huge. So let's play alchemy as well, because we need a bit of science. So I'm producing 3 science at the moment. That's me done actually, I think. I should be okay. 3, 3, 3, yeah, hopefully. But I'm producing 3 culture now, so that is pretty good. So 1 for my temple, 2 for my theaters, which is this one. And I'm pretty good. I'm pretty well covered for my happiness. I need to drink some more coffee, I guess. So. Okay, each civilization scores equal to the amount of culture it produces. So, and luckily it tells you. So red and green both producing 3, the rest is 1. So you get that immediately. So which is nice. So it's basically just an extra end of turn, basically, in terms of culture. He's producing 8. So I need to. Ideally, I want this iron. Sportsman, okay. Okay, interesting. Okay, Genghis, Michelangelo, Christopher. Ah, there's my card. So the problem I have now is that I don't have a worker in my worker pool. And temporarily I actually forgot about it. He took iron. Suboptimal for me, really. Okay, I'm not happy now. So, because I was a little bit stupid. But hey, that's the way of it is. So you feed something and then tend to forget about it. So what you can do is actually you can look at the deck, and all the ones you played are in the deck. These are the ones which have been played. This is the ones which are coming up, but not in this order. So it doesn't necessarily mean that this one is coming up next. It means that it's in this deck at the moment. And this is the deck which is coming up after this. And I played a card in there. So which is not bad, because I know 1/3 of the cards coming up, and they're not great. So fine. So what needs to happen is, so skip politics. I probably skip politics because I can't really do anything. So I skip it. Now, you see this axis here arriving? So that means because of this one. Or civilization, on your turn, lose 1. Reminder, you will lose population at the end of your politics phase. And it's because I don't have a worker in my worker pool. So what are we going to do? To be honest, whatever you decide is fine by me. In this particular instance, I'll probably take this one. And what happens is, back. As you can see, this one goes not back into here, it actually goes back here. So you need to actually redevelop it, and then it's a bit of a pain in the, excuse my German, but a pain in the ass. So as you can see, it goes back there. Right, and now I can do my turn. So what I'm probably going to do is I take Michelangelo. I think he's a decent. I play him, and now it gives me the option of do not use Homer's ability or put him under the pyramids. I'll put him under the pyramids, so it gives me another. And right, and that brings us to the end of the turn, and I will probably stop the recording here, and thank you very much.